And welcome Deborah Kobylt live.
Hey, thank you so much, Kurt, for that introduction. And thank you for being here for a special edition of Deborah Kobylt Live. We don't usually do it like this. I'm doing it from my home, like most people out there. And today we've got three very interesting guests, and I'd like you to stay with us. We've got Debi Carlin Boyle, host of the podcast Balanced Life Podcast. You are a wellness coach, a trainer, a nutritionist, and you're going to kind of talk to us, walk us through how to deal with all this anxiety, right? Because I have to tell you, no matter what channel I turn on or what news outlet I'm reading, I hear all different stories. And I think, okay, what does this mean? Are we sequestered until the end of the year? Is it until Easter? What's going on? So maybe you could help us a little with that. Thank you for joining us, by the way.
Oh, thanks for having me. Absolutely.
I so appreciate it. Heidi J. Hilton, you are president of Milestone Life Transitions. You also host a radio show, Milestones Radio. And you're going to talk to us a little bit about finance and financial goals, because this is a scary time right now. A lot of people have lost they're watching their 401ks drop. They're watching their savings drop, their retirement. And maybe you could advise us, what should people do?
Yes, it's a very scary time right now. And thank you very much for having me today. I look forward to our conversation, and I hope that I can help some people today that maybe help with some anxiety.
Yeah, I mean, look, it was at 29,000, and as it's going down, people are saying, should I pull it out? Should I wait? And now look where it's at. I'm not sure where it landed today. I guess 20,000, 21. Sure, it's going to go up, but this is a crazy ride. But okay, let me introduce our last guest. Lee Binz. She is owner of The Home Scholar, and you homeschool kids, which is, bless you, because that's tough. I mean, most people that I know that have their kids at home, they're saying, please God, I don't know what to do. I'm not a natural teacher. So you're going to just sort of help us a little with that. So thanks, Lee, for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm eager to talk to you.
Yeah, believe me, a lot of people are eager to hear from you. Okay, so I want to make sure we've got that shot up so I can see everybody. Let's start first. Actually, let's start with you, Lee. Okay. A lot of people have their kids home. They are not natural teachers. They're probably working from home themselves, and they're hoping that they can help their kids stay on track in school. What do you do? How do you guide these people?
Yeah. Well, I think right now it's important to remember that really everybody in America is having a different amount of crisis right now. And all of the homeschoolers that I know are all struggling with the same crisis that these public school parents are struggling with. They're all having trouble focusing. They're having trouble getting their kids to settle down. Everything's different because they can't go to all of the groups and all the outside classes that they've been involved with. And usually when school is out, you can go do, this, that, or the other thing, activity in the community, and we can't even do that now. So whatever you're feeling, the crises that you're feeling now is actually true of all parents, even the public school parents and private school parents that you know. So we're all facing the same crisis. The one thing to remember, though, is that when you are together in the home, it's possible for you to become closer as a family. Socialization actually means that a child is becoming more like the people that are around them. And as your children are home, they become socialized more to your home family unit. And they get a little easier for you to get along with as time goes, and you can shape and mold their behavior a little bit more. And so it will become easier over time. With the homeschoolers that I've been talking with, I actually have been advising them to give themselves a break. If you're in a state of emergency where you are, that is like the definition of the time to give yourself grace and a break and not worry too much about it. But there's also other people in our country that are not feeling this urgent, stressful trauma that other people are. I live in Seattle. We've been doing this for 3 weeks, and it's pretty crazy in Seattle. And so we've been doing it a while, but other people don't really understand what I'm talking about across the nation. So if you are in a place where you really do want to get education done, you do have a mind space where you're able to take care of that, then I think my biggest suggestion is to choose a schedule that will work for your children. Children in general prefer having some sort of a schedule, and that can really help them.
You're saying I agree. You just get up and you almost try to have the same routine with breakfast. God help you if you're getting, resistance from the kids. I hope you don't. I also heard that people are saying, you know what, offer them something. Look, please get up, have breakfast, do your classes online with the teachers. And then I think most of them are letting them go by like 12:30. Then the rest of the day, you can watch something or do whatever. Because let's face it, this is very unsettling for so many people.
Right.
Let's go to you for a moment, Debbie. And by the way, Kurt, my engineer, I don't see the foreshot. I'm just making sure that everybody is up there. Is everybody else seeing the foreshot there? This is new to me.
Yeah.
Yeah?
It is up there, yes.
It is. Oh, now I can see everybody. Okay, great. Thank you. And we're live, right? We didn't have any technical problems there?
No, we are live currently, yes.
Okay. Sorry, I had to ask. I wasn't seeing it on my side.
No.
So Debi Carlin Boyle, Balanced Life Podcast. I was telling you earlier, I don't know what to do. I don't know who to believe. I'm not sure if we're not working until, what are we doing, right? I have a kid who's supposed to graduate college and they just canceled it, which was heartbreaking to me, actually. He's worked so hard his whole life. I have another one who plays baseball and his entire season in his freshman year of college canceled. That's the least of the issues, but it's bringing everyone a little anxiety. We're doing the best we can, but how do we deal with it? How do we cope?
Well, to start is with yourself and self-care, taking care of yourself. And I would say, more than ever right now, I mean, my business is based around self-care. It's based around getting people to find balance in their life with basically everything that feeds us in addition to the food on our plate, and food being very important. And the number one thing right now, it's so important what we put in our bodies because we're going to react. And I was just I want to read a little thing I saw online yesterday.
Please.
And it's true. And it kind of goes with how important it is to take care of ourselves right now, to keep the calm from within, to keep it from expanding and manifesting in negative ways. And the thing I read was, I'm either coming out of the quarantine 20 pounds lighter, chakras balanced, and a house full of craft products, or 20 pounds heavier and a drinking problem.
Oh no, I guess it's all choice, right?
That's exactly what I was going to say, Deborah. It's choice. And it's kind of that way in everyday life, but it's even more important now. And some people, and if you read or you get online or you're watching TV, some people are taking the opportunity to kind of kick back, drink a little more, go to the comfort food. I noticed first thing when we were, stay inside, when people were kind of panicking and everything was going off the shelves. The things that were more available to us were the fresh fruits and vegetables. And the things that were gone were all the processed packaged food.
Okay, hang on. My husband would send me pictures because I would send him out to grocery shop. I was not going to deal with that. And boy, for weeks, he couldn't find anything. And we'd send back all those empty shelves. But he always sent back the vegan section. He goes, check it out. It's full. You are so right. Nobody was taking the good stuff.
And it should have actually been the opposite. And I did the opposite. So, the unfortunate part about that is that food spoils a little faster, but there are things that you can do. So let's go back for 1 second. The 3 things that are most important right now with self-care, and again, anytime, but really important now, are food, movement, and mindset. So with the food, non-processed, stay away. It can be in a package, least amount of ingredients, very low sugar. If you can't pronounce something, then you don't know what it is, and it's gonna compromise your immune system once it gets in your body.
Can I say something? What I'm doing for that stuff that spoils, and I promise we're going to get to you in a second, Heidi. You can even have a little more time. But if for stuff that looks like it's getting a little old, I'm throwing it in my juicer. I recently bought one a couple of weeks ago before this whole pandemic because I really want to start juicing my food, whatever I can find. I'll just put it in there unless it's bread. But that's a good thing to do too. I've got some bananas. I'm not a great cook, so I'm probably not going to make banana bread. I'm going to throw it in the blender and see what I can concoct with some celery.
Yeah, A
You don't
smoothie,
like it?
a good healthy smoothie would be great with that. That's a great thing. I was going to mention that. Or you can steam and blend fruits and vegetables.
Vegetables.
I'm freezing soups right now. So it looks like things are getting better, which is very positive. But last week we weren't sure. So I started freezing. I was steaming fresh organic vegetables because, believe it or not, everywhere I went, I could find organic too, even in Ralph's and Vaughn's. So the most important thing now is to nourish yourself in a healthy way and not to think that this is the time, because it will break down your immune system. It will raise up your anxiety, keeping you from staying calm, and make you more susceptible to anything, including this virus.
Right. I'm just going to say one more thing, and then we will get to Heidi. I think it's great, obviously, to go for a walk. Sadly, they closed down a lot of the paths, which I wish they didn't do. I mean, I don't think people were hoarding together, but they did what they did. But you could still walk up and down your street for the time being. It will pass. It will pass, people, is what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Have you seen all those great little cartoons with says day 1 and you've got the skinny little person looking in the fridge, and day 30 you've got sort of somebody put on a couple of pounds.
It's the same kind of thing. And this is your opportunity. I don't have time for exercise. That mantra is gone.
That's right.
Is your opportunity, and you don't have to do it outside. I trained a client this morning via Zoom in my kitchen.
I'm telling you, this Zoom thing is going to prove to be one of the greatest inventions that all of us have been sort of forced into. And so you're right, you're training. I'm doing my show from the kitchen. It's great. So please,
my daughter is doing online yoga courses through Core Power Yoga on the stories, and they're live classes, and you can actually ask a question in a class during the class. She's been doing it for a week. If you go to corepower.com, you'll see the list of all the classes. So just get your blood pumping, because if you eat clean and you sleep well and you keep moving and you have a good mindset, all this stuff is going to keep you. You're almost going to have a shield in front of you to keep you. Nothing's 100% guaranteed in any situation.
Right, you just do the best you can and take care of yourself, and not get to day 30 of the photo in the refrigerator. Let's go to Heidi for a second. Heidi J. Hilton, thank you for being so incredibly patient.
It's been very interesting.
Let's talk, right? Let's talk a little bit about money and finance. I'm someone who loves to watch the stock market. I like to watch trends of what people are interested in doing and building. And I'm not one to pull out, right? But writing this thing down from nearly 30,000 to below 20,000 was a bit of a shock, right? What, in your opinion, should people do? Is this also sort of, a sign where people should maybe get more into more secure investments as opposed to riding the stock market like this? Was so abrupt. What are your thoughts?
Well, I would say, first of all, you need to take a snapshot of what you currently have. And the biggest thing when you're looking at your portfolio, if you have one, or maybe there's people out there that have extra cash on hand that they want to start saving now, that opportunity is definitely there for them with the stock market being down. However, most importantly, like I said, take a snapshot of what you currently got. If you have a financial advisor that you're working with, contact your financial advisor or your financial planner and ask questions. Make sure that you're being proactive.
My financial advisor was just as confused as I am. In fact, half the time I call him with ideas. So he could hardly even, clearly it's an opportunity to jump into the market when it appears that we may be getting over this hump. That's obvious for anyone who has a little cash, but a lot of people, it sort of wiped out their, whatever they had in half, particularly people who are close to retirement. That's really sad. How do you advise them?
If you're feeling that everything is just too risky and it's causing a lot of anxiety, we've talked a lot in our conversation today about anxiety, and the number one cause of anxiety, besides the crisis that we're having right now, is finances. Because your finances will cause you anxiety even if we're not having this crisis right now. So if you don't know what to do, then what I'd like to do is say, go back to the basics. Take a look at your overall risk tolerance again. I understand if you're saying that your financial advisor doesn't know what to do, but do a Zoom call like this, talk to them, research, they'll do some research for you. And then the two of you together can make a conscious, educated decision together. So the biggest thing about crisis times like now, even though we're social distancing and we're locked in our houses and all that, we still have to have good communication skills. And this actually gives us an opportunity to work on those communication skills too.
It's actually a lot of fun. The three of you, if I didn't reach out to our friends and said, hey, who do you know? It's actually presented a lot of interesting opportunities, don't you think?
Absolutely.
I mean, in terms of, let's talk about a little bit about what Lee said, for example. It's an opportunity to get a little closer to your kids. I know a lot of parents are petrified of that, but what better opportunity? And now that mine are a little older, right? I thought, gosh, I sure wish I had them home right now because I would do some really fun stuff with them. Really use this opportunity because you're not going to get it again, right? And then in terms of the anxiety and the eating, okay, you've got a choice. You can just raid the refrigerator for all the carb stuff. It's probably not so good for you, and the Oreos. Or you can go the clean route. And same with your money. Look at it as an opportunity. Maybe you have no cash left at the end of this. Maybe you won't have a job, which is really scary. But it's time to just take a pause, right? And decide where you want to go in the future with your money. Do you agree?
I do agree with that. When this came about, the one thing that I did say is our radio show, Milestones Radio, and people can find us at milestonesradio.com. I hope you don't mind me saying that.
No, you should all be plugging yourselves, please.
Is about good people doing great things. And the one thing that I'd like to do on my radio show is I want to bring people back, the family back together. We've got all these sporting events that we've gone to. We've got all these different things that we've, wanted our kids to do, or however it might be. Our lives have gotten too busy.
Out of control, man. Out of control, right? I mean, yeah.
And so this actually gives you an opportunity to take a snapshot of your portfolio as well as your budget. If you've got a larger amount of debt than what you're comfortable with, it'll allow you to ask questions, do some research, and find out how you can help manage that debt a little bit better, and maybe have an opportunity to cut back a little bit. So
we've all did you read that the average American doesn't even have $400 in the bank to get them out of trouble? I was really surprised at that, because even as a teenager, I would always squirrel away half the money I made because I did not come from means at all. And it just was very important to me, maybe because I didn't come from means, maybe that's the reason. But I was really surprised to find out that not only are they in debt with credit card debt, but they don't even have enough to get them out of trouble. And that is a scary situation. Why do we have to have everything? I actually look back from the invention of the credit card, and I actually think it became very easy. And if you're not disciplined, you just go and spend stuff and say, pay for it later. And we all know that that's true, right? Maybe start to tear up credit cards and pay the old-fashioned way. I remember my mom would go to the grocery store. She'd pay the cashier in cash. If you can't afford it, then don't pay for it. I don't know. You're right.
I'm a financial coordinator for Dave Ramsey. And those principles there, the envelope situation has helped out a tremendous amount of people. So, really? I mean, there are ways to manage this.
What's that?
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I did the envelope thing with my daughter, and it worked. It worked when she was in her early 20s. She didn't know how to save money. It was such a great way for her to visualize and really crack down on how to manage her money from an early age.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, if somebody's in a situation that they have a large amount of credit card debt and they've lost their job, be proactive. Don't just let the envelopes arrive at your house and let them sit there. Be proactive, because the credit card companies will work with you during this crisis. And this situation.
One will. You're wherever you're financing your car, your landlord, I believe it's a mandate right now where, and people have to, because it's not anyone's fault. This was a pandemic that was left at our doorstep, slapped us in the face. I mean, it was very difficult. So what are people to do? Let's get back for a moment to Lee, if you don't mind. To Heidi's point about this can really bring us together. I mean, are you finding that? I know you're primarily a homeschooler and you're skilled at that. But for those of your friends who aren't, are you finding that as they're continuing and their kids are home, that they're learning that this isn't so bad? It's kind of a great opportunity to see what they're learning. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's the same as the other conversations that we've been having, whether it's money or personal health or homeschooling. Putting the needs of your family first is what's going to bring your family together. And the good part about being home together is that then we can be looking at the social life of our kids, making sure that's okay. Their physical is safe. They're emotionally safe and attended to. We can have those discussions with them, their spiritual life, to make sure that their values are our values. And we can really be encouraging them in every part of their personality within the context of homeschooling. And I look at it just like your other guests have said, it's about putting on your own oxygen mask first, right? It's about making sure that your nuclear family is doing okay and doing it in a relaxed way. I think that where you get into trouble is just like if you obsessed on your finances, that wouldn't be good either. You want to be proactive about that. And I think the same thing with education. You don't want to beat your children with a sledgehammer to get their schoolwork done. You want to be working in a balanced way with them to make sure that you're keeping their stress level under control, because it is possible to do some harm if you're overworking them at a time of national crisis,
Right. You were suggesting talk to your kids about that. Like, how are you feeling? Yeah. I try to talk to my kids about that. I think they're struggling because they just started, one's about to end college and he had a lot of plans. They've all been taken away from him. And that's tough. And then one just started school to play baseball. That was taken away. And I think it's very difficult. They're doing really well, not complaining, not saying anything. But I think down the road, this could have some kind of repercussions because no fault of their own. This is what they're dealt with. And then they're going to be handling it. But it's great to have those conversations, right?
Right. And even encouraging them to do some journaling, no matter what age of student they are. Even a young child can journal with pictures. But all of them can be doing journaling, and that's a way of them getting their emotions out and helpful to them.
Yeah. I like when you all just chime in. Go ahead and step on each other. It's fine with me. I feel like what we do at home here.
I think that's a really great idea, the journaling. I suggest that to my clients, anyway, on a daily basis. And I work a lot with my clients' kids who are in high school and college right now. And in fact, because spring break should technically be here,
exactly.
That's when I get them in, the vacation times in the summer. And, I encourage them to journal and to get their thoughts out and to have an active mindset of positivity in spite of. And right now we have a crisis like we've never seen in our lifetime before us. But our kids are like, wait, what? That isn't supposed to happen to us this young. And it's important for them to stay well, too, from, all the things that balance us, like you were saying, Lee. It's so important. Go ahead, Deborah.
Interesting that you said that, because I was speaking to my middle child and I said, because he loves history. And I said, from a historical perspective, you read about this, right? We've read about World War II. We've known the grandparents who've been through that. Or you read about the Great Depression, but we've never lived through anything where we felt really frightened. I mean, 9/11, without a doubt. But this is a pandemic that's so out of our control. We don't know if we're going to get sick. It's very unsettling. And I said, you'll be able to live to tell about this and see how history unfolds in years to come, right? How our country handled it and how we handled it as a people. There's opportunities, as you said, right?
Absolutely. I think
this is like a 9/11 every single day.
Right. Yeah, I would agree.
And I would say from a health standpoint, there are trigger words and visuals that are being thrown at us right now. And we know how we feel and how stressed we get when we hear those words or we see those images. Imagine our kids. And if they see us getting upset about it, that flows on to them. So we have to be careful, again, how we react. And that all starts with how we're taking care of ourselves and making sure that we're not in that panic mode, because we're just going to pass that right down to them. And they're going to think that's sort of the normal way to react in these kinds of situations. And in fact, we've got to teach them ways to deal with the panic. I mean, there's some physical things you can do to eliminate stress. There are some mental things you can do. And just staying calm and seizing moments and opportunities, like you were saying, I think is so important for us.
Look, as you said, if you can, better food. Try for organic food. Let's face it, it's what's sitting on the shelves anyway. No one's going for it. The walking, I think, is everything. Breathing in the fresh air if you can get outside, right? Some people are sick and they can't, but just open the window. I said to someone, I said, open the window and breathe outside. And then read, breathe. Maybe take an opportunity instead of being upset at the portfolio, realizing it eventually will come back. Is that true, Heidi? Will it come back?
It will.
I mean, not in a year.
It will. It will come back.
Yeah. When do you see that, projection wise?
Well, since I don't have a crystal ball in front of me.
Oh, sure you do.
I can't really tell you exactly when we're going to see that, but I can tell you with optimism that it will come back. Just need to just hang tight. Like I said, if you start feeling too much anxiety about it, make sure you make a phone call and communicate with your financial advisor or someone other than yourself, because when we're anxious about something, we don't want to make a poor decision. And when we're anxious, that's when we make poor decisions and poor choices. So we want to be making smart choices.
I see it as an opportunity to try to save more, because I do think in this society, everyone feels like they can and should have everything, whatever that is.
Well, we have an instant gratification society.
And it doesn't mean you have to go to a top store to buy your clothing. You really can go to some of the other stores, like a Marshall's or a Ross or whatever. In other words, that's a little less expensive than what you would get.
Right.
There are ways to spend your money where you're not spending all of it. I mean, I've always been pretty good that way. And perhaps maybe other people will realize I can't keep going like this, or I'm going to go bankrupt. And also getting back to school. I think more than anything, I see this as a great opportunity with the kids. Lee?
Yeah, and I think that this is your opportunity to think about consistency over time. And this is one of the reasons why so many military and missionary families will homeschool. It's because you can literally take that school with you wherever you go, wherever you end up being stationed. And you can look at this as an opportunity to learn more about homeschooling and decide if that's a good school system for you that you can take with you, no matter what the economy does, no matter what your school does in the future. If there's, another wave of illness that comes through, your school won't have to be closed next time if you're homeschooling. And when you're homeschooling, when you're homeschooling too, it's not every single day during the school year you have to do a certain thing. When you're homeschooling, you're in control of.
That's right. We're going to the zoo today. I know people who do it. I'm like, wait, what do you mean? You could go to the zoo? And they say,
you want to.
Yeah, that's your field trip. You just what a great thing. I'm not sure I would have been able to do that, but I don't know. It seems very interesting. So you're right. This opens up a whole new opportunity for people who wouldn't have even thought of it.
Right. And homeschooling, when it's independent, you can really choose how much you're going to spend on your curriculum. You don't have to spend gallons of money. It's certainly less expensive than private high school would be. And yet you can provide all the rigor that they would. And my own 2 children got full tuition scholarships to their first choice university. And,
wow.
It happens to even normal, nerdy kids like mine.
Yeah, no, I got you. One thing that a big takeaway for me, Debbie, Heidi, and Lee, is discipline, right? It's like, it's a time to be disciplined about your money, time to be disciplined about how you treat your body, time to be disciplined about it, a loose schedule, if you will, but a schedule for the kids to be in school and enjoy them. I hope that people take that opportunity. The only thing is, I said this in my previous shows, like with Dr. Jeffrey Klausner, who's an epidemiologist, we just need some leadership from the top that's very consistent. here's what the scientists are saying, and here's what we are hoping for. I think that will reduce so much anxiety. What do you think?
I would agree with that. Yeah.
I agree
I think
completely.
we have to be proactive for ourselves right now.
True.
And I know you're a big researcher, Deborah. I am too. And I think the best thing we can do, and I tell everybody this, get educated. Learn what you need. There's a lot of misinformation on the internet, the news, being the media. Valentina was talking about some misinformation that was coming from Italy. We have to be careful what our sources are, and
I say? Cross-reference your sources. Get them from different places. That's a big one. I know you feel the same way because you're the same. You read everything. You got to cross-reference. Don't you agree?
Got to be proactive and start with you and and not let all of that garbage, even from the top, because we're looking for that, for our hope, for our sanity from there, and it's not happening. So we have to be proactive for ourselves in all walks of life, but especially now.
So there's no doubt this is uncharted territory for all of us, and just like Lee said, this is our 9/11. It really is. So Heidi, why don't you tell us how people can get in touch with you if they have questions, they're concerned, and how they can, well, you already talked about your radio show, but tell us how they can find you, any info that you have.
Well, the best place for anybody to find me, I'm on Facebook quite often. So, but milestonesradio.com. My email is HeidiHilton68@gmail.com. It's really easy.
Heidi Hilton.
Contact me there.
Year you were born. People always put the year they were born on there. So I'm just that's okay. Give away nothing.
And so I do have one more thing I'd like to add. A couple of things that my husband and I have been doing every day since we've been stuck in the house together, is every night we end the night with having 3 things that we're thankful for. And it seems to ease tension a lot. So if he or I or our kids are really stressed out about something, talking about the things that we are truly thankful for. So, and one more thing.
Little, wait, can I just say something? I've been doing that with my kids since they're really little. I don't really do it with my husband. So guess what? I'm going to do it, and I'm going to report back to you, because he might look at me and go, wait, what? It's like, come on now, you're going to play. So thank you for saying that. I'm going to do it tonight.
And the other thing, make sure that with your finances, you're being proactive. Don't just sit and let things happen to you. Research, educate yourself. There are answers and there are solutions to every problem. I always feel that way every day. Whenever somebody comes to me with a issue, I let them know, there is a solution to this. This will work itself out.
Thank you so much. And Lee, talk to me a little bit about how people can find you and learn more about homeschooling.
Sure. Yeah, so I'm on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, The Home Scholar. But you can find me on my website, homehighschoolhelp.com. And I agree with what everybody else has said, being proactive with yourself, being not going for what the people up there are doing, but making your own decisions and your own choices. And as far as homeschooling goes, that frees you up then with the requirements of public education. And you get to decide what's right for your child and when you're going to do school and when you're going to take spring break and when you need a mental health day. You can do that. So I encourage you to be proactive for yourself and just to consider whether homeschooling long-term is going to be helpful for you as we weather this storm together, because it can bring some peace and family closeness together.
It can. And let's end with you, Debbie. Would you please tell us how folks can get in touch with you? I know that I will be. In fact, I'll be getting in touch with all of you. But I know I will be, because I love what you do. I love your model. So tell us your website and how people can find you.
Okay. So my website is Balanced Life by Debi, DEBI.com.
Okay. Great. And that's podcast. Sorry, go ahead.
That's a great way to reach me. But I also have a show at UBN, like you, Deborah, on the 2nd and 4th Tuesday of every month at 2 p.m. It's Balanced Life by Debi, Conversations Connecting to a Healthier You. And I have a YouTube channel, which is Balanced Life by Debi, same thing, DEBI, YouTube. So if you go there, you can see all of my shows. I have a Facebook page, which is called Fit by Design, because when I changed my brand last year, I would have lost all my content if I changed the name.
Yeah, no, it's really cool to do that. But basically, they can, so you have lots of different ways for folks to get in touch with you. And if people want to work with you personally, they can reach out to you in any of those ways, right?
Absolutely.
Primarily
Absolutely.
Facebook message or on your website, responding to your podcast. So I can't thank the three of you enough. I only have a few more minutes because I think it's the show right behind me. But any parting words, briefly, like 2 words, how about that you'd all like to say before I let you all go?
I'm going to say, think about this during this time. What can I do to stay positive? What can I do for myself? And what can I do to be productive? How can I lean into this moment in a positive way and stay positive myself?
Don't lose this moment is what I say, because it'll pass. And then you're going to go, wow, I kind of had this opportunity. Okay, Lee, go ahead. You wanted to say something.
Yeah, I would just say that if it's a time for you of crisis management, just to focus on feelings and family and fun so that you can encourage that family closeness. If it is not a time of personal stress, then just focus on the core subjects. Your goal is literacy, maintaining literacy until they go back to school.
And Heidi, would you suggest selling your portfolio or just sort of making a plan?
Making a plan. That's what I would say. Be proactive. That's my 2 words. Be proactive. Take control of your own situation.
And also study the market. See what's going on out there. What are people going to need moving forward? Probably toilet paper, but
yes.
Or maybe not.
That is out of our control right now. That's the one thing I don't have control of.
Right? But I always say, I try and look out there and see what are people going to need, or what do they use to make something? Just sort of think a little bit of on the horizon what might be necessary for us, right? So
there are always stocks that are still doing well when the stock market is doing bad. Just remember.
Wait, give me a tip or 2 before I go. And then we
no.
Go.
No.
Not fair. All right,
look what we're doing right now. This Zoom, right?
Right.
So these kinds of teleconferencing.
Oh my God, wait, really quick. This weekend we did, game night with our friends. We had so much fun doing Zoom or Google, whatever we did. Oh, we had the best time. We're going to probably keep it up. So it's so much fun. People across the country, the best.
They're doing this is part of wellness. We're doing happy hours. It doesn't have to include alcohol. We're doing game nights. We're doing, and the kids.
Oh, would you include me? I think that'd be so much fun. Please, really.
Yeah, I would like that.
I'm not a drinker, but I'll bring my glass of water. That'd be a lot of fun.
That's
anyway,
what
gotta go.
Bring.
Anyway, you guys, it was really fun sort of connecting, because you're right. It shows people how we do it. So Debbie, Heidi, and Lee, and Deborah, I appreciate you joining me today for another edition of Deborah Kobylt Live from my kitchen. I may make a habit of this, actually. Coming to you from on top of my salad bowl, which is hysterical. I'm going to post this photo, how I got my iPad on top of it. It's pretty creative. So thank you all for being here for Deborah Kobylt Live. Please, everybody, do practice safe distancing. I'm a big believer in that. Wash your hands thoroughly. They say 20 seconds. It's going to pass. It's difficult, but try and stay safe. Okay. Thank you for joining us. And you can find us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, honestly, anywhere you get your podcasts, you'll find us. So thank you for tuning in. Be safe, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.
Thank you.